Hey guys! Welcome back to another video. Monster Hunter World and Iceborne massively changed the Monster Hunter series for the better. It added tons of quality of life changes, reworked all of the weapons, gave us new systems, and so many other things. However, with all of the changes they made, not all of them were a smashing success, and in Rise they basically trimmed the fat. Some of the features that they removed were actually ones that had a really good concept, just lackluster execution. This video is about some of those mechanics and features that were removed, and how I would love to see them return in Sunbreak in a better way. I'm starting off this list with the Slinger. The Slinger was a mechanic first introduced in base Monster Hunter World. This system had it so that monsters would periodically drop special items called pods that the hunter could pick up and use a device on their arm to fire the pods back at monsters. There were many different pods that could drop from monsters, such as pierce pods that hit the monster multiple times, thorn pods that stuck to a monster and would explode and do stun damage when on the monster's head, bomb pods that acted like a weaker barrel bomb, and more. There were also pods that would appear in the environment, such as stones, red pits, bright moss, scatternuts, and even more. There was a very wide variety of pods that you could use as ammo, and they all had a lot of utility. For example, torch pods were very useful in the Rotten Vale, since they could be used to burn away the clouds of effluvium in the area, as well as repel small monsters, just like torches did in the older games. In addition to just a tool, it was also integrated into the combo path of many weapons, since with weapons like the sword and shield and long sword you could perform a slinger burst, which had the player rapidly fire multiple slinger pods for the cost of one, which was very useful for doing things like inflicting Elder Seal or stunning a monster. The main problem that people had with the slinger system has to do with the armor design, as well as the clutch claw. As I mentioned earlier, the Slinger was a device mounted on the left arm of hunters, so for every single armor set in the game the left arm was replaced with the Slinger, which didn't look visually appealing. The other issue with the Slinger in Iceborne had to do with the clutch claw, and how it just became a tedious system. The clutch claw made it so that you always had to be performing the flinch shot monsters, which meant you needed Slinger ammo. You also had to tenderize monster parts, and with many weapons tenderizing a part caused the monster to drop Slinger ammo, and since monsters could only drop a limited amount of Slinger ammo, you would end up wasting a lot of the pods and resort to scavenging for the pods that would spawn naturally so you could flinch shot the monster more. This turned the Slinger from an interesting tool that hunters could use to trigger environmental traps, or in their combos into a tedious mini-game that pulled you out of the hunt too much. In Sunbreak there are very easy ways to fix those two issues and bring back this mechanic. The first solution would be to have Slinger ammo as an item you could use in the item bar, and either throw it like a kunai, or even use the wire bug silk like a sling. That would prevent the physical Slinger from coming back while still allowing it mechanically to be there. Also, instead of having the monsters drop the special Slinger ammo, make it so that we can collect stones across the map like we used to be able to do in older games and combine them to make the special ones, like combining the infinite kunai and a stone makes a piercing pod, or combining a stone with a fire herb makes a torch pod. The second problem with the Slinger has technically already been solved in Rise, since it does not have the clutch claw, and wall banging the monster can only be done while wyvern riding. I think there is still a lot of potential with this mechanic that was really overshadowed by the tedious nature of the clutch claw, and I would love to see those mechanics come back in Sunbreak. The next feature from Iceborne that I want to see in Monster Hunter Sunbreak are random decorations. I know that this is a very divided topic within the community, with some people preferring random talismans and others preferring random decorations. While I see the benefits and cons of both sides, I think the best solution would be to meet in the middle and have randomness and craftability for both. Before I go into how Sunbreak could add the best parts of both systems, let's talk about how Iceborne handled random decorations. In Iceborne, hunting monsters would give you decorations, with the difficulty of the monster determining the quality of the decoration. The problem with this system was that it was truly random, so getting the specific decoration you want was very difficult. Some weapons need specific skills that greatly improve how they function, and the easiest way to ensure you had the skills you needed for your weapon was with decorations, but since it was hard for people to get the decoration they needed, it was harder for them to get the needed skills. The Monster Hunter team did remedy this after the fact by allowing you to influence the type of decorations you could get, as well as making decoration farming easier with special event quests. However, the RNG just wasn't good and people couldn't get the decorations they needed. The part of this system that I really liked was how it put you in a mentality where you asked yourself, what can I do with the skills I have available? When I was able to play Iceborne, for some reason the only decorations I got were evade window decorations, and that led me into using evade gun lance and evade sword and shield for the first time, which resulted in me falling in love with those styles. As I mentioned earlier, the best way to close the divide is to have the best of both worlds. Sunbreak is bound to bring Tier 4 slots back into the game, so maybe we could have a system where Tier 4 slots are random, but they have 2 skills on them, and then keep the craftable decorporations as ones with only 1 skill. That's really the only way I can think of that would result in both systems at the same time, but I'm sure if anyone can make a good system out of that, it's the Monster Hunter team. The next feature I want to talk about adding to Monster Hunter are the secret skills, or the skills that were a part of set bonuses that basically limit break-specific skills like artillery or divine blessing. I really liked the concept of gaining more of the monster's attributes the more of its armor you have equipped, however its execution in world left more to be desired. The main problem with secret skills was that they were restricted to specific sets only. Using artillery as an example, the only sets in Iceborne that had the artillery secret set bonus were Zora Magdaros and Raging Brachydios, so if you were playing something like Gunlance that really needed that skill, you were locked to those sets. In the Fatales update, the Monster Hunter team tried to fix this by making the Fatales armor negate the need for specific sets and unlocked all of the secret skills. However, that was one of the things that contributed to the Fatales armor being viewed as too good. In Sunbreak, they could bring back secret skills by simply making a new skill as a decoration or talisman that limits break-specific skills. Make this new skill a single-level skill that requires 3 slots, so it maintains the special nature of it while still making it more accessible. This may be a pretty common thought, but I would love for a system like investigations to come back. Investigations were basically like custom quests. As you collected monster tracks, broke parts, or slay monsters, you would occasionally get a random quest called an investigation of the monster you picked up tracks for. Investigations had a system where it would randomly buff one of the aspects of the quest. For example, it could reduce the quest timer, but allow you to get more rewards, or it raises the amount of zenny you would get for completing the quest, or even adding multiple monsters to the quest. Investigations also gave you special reward slots, with the rare slots like purple and gold giving you a higher chance to get rare materials like decorations and monster gems. It was also a great way to get quests to kill a group of small monsters, making it very easy to get materials from insects like Vespoids and Horntaurs. The main problem with investigations is that it was truly random, and it completely invalidated the need for the normal quests. As I mentioned earlier, investigations came randomly, so if you wanted a specific investigation, you would have to spend a long time grinding for it. For example, if you wanted to farm rare materials, you would need to go in a quest or expedition where that monster would be, then keep collecting tracks until you get a few investigations for that monster. Then you would need to sort through the ones you did collect until you found one that had a good amount of gold slots, multiple uses, and one that didn't have multiple monsters in it. On top of that, there was a limit of how many investigations that could be held, as well as how many could be active at once, so you would constantly have to weed out the investigations to make sure you had enough for good investigations. While the premise of investigations were really cool, it just became another tedious thing you needed to keep track of in Iceborne. In Sunbreak, I would like to see this system get revamped. To start, I think it would be better to limit investigations in Sunbreak to 1 monster. This prevents the issue that it had in Iceborne where normal quests became useless. Normal quests can focus on monster introductions, and the special condition quests like multiple monster quests, and monsters with unique parameter changes, and investigations can be used for just regular monster quests. Another change I would make would be to make it truly random. In Iceborne, while the quest you got was random, there were still aspects that would always stay the same. For example, certain monsters like Dota Gamma and Lavasiath would only appear in the Elder's Recess, or monsters like Great Gyros and Acidic Glavenus would only appear in the Rotten Vale. I would like to see investigations in Sunbreak that have monsters completely out of their natural environment, like a Geratidus in the Sandy Plains, or a Arachnikadaki in the Shrine Ruins. Doing that would really break up the monotony of only being able to fight specific monsters in a specific map. The main question now would be how you could obtain the investigations, since we no longer need to collect monster tracks because of the cahoots. The best way I could think of to answer that question would be if you could meld the quest. In addition to getting them randomly by breaking monster parts, or picking up items dropped from the monster, it would be cool if you could provide monster parts to reach a certain point threshold like you do with melding talismans. You could even make a system where breaking parts and picking up items have a chance of giving you a special item related to that monster, like what the Guiding Lands do. Then, you could use that item to upgrade the melded investigations to have better rewards to give you. While something like this would definitely need to be fine-tuned, I still would love to see an investigation system in Sunbreak. I wanted to try something new to present the last feature that I want to see from Iceborne. I call this an honorable mention, but in reality this was just my favorite quality of life feature they added in Sunbreak, and I wanted to show something special to really show how much I love this feature, and how much I really want to see this return in Sunbreak. So, without further ado, here is my honorable mention. I know we have the Palamutes in Rise, and they are incredibly useful too, but I just love that in Iceborne you could just hop on the back of a Kelby or an Aptonoth and just wander around collecting items. It didn't have a purpose at all, it was just fun to just see that and relax, and I really want to see more fun things added back. So those are the main features from Iceborne that I would love to see in Sunbreak. I originally had one more idea that I wanted to talk about in this video, but after thinking about it more I think it would be better as its own video. This was a fun video to make and I think I'll make a few more like it in the weeks to come, so please look forward to seeing more like this. If you enjoyed this video and the little montage I made, then please like this video, and if you're new then also check out some of the other videos I've made. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.